Are you thinking about buying a home in Ontario right now? Well, hold on to your wallet because what I'm about to reveal could save you tens of thousands of dollars. Recent data from the Ontario Real Estate Association shows some shocking predictions that even seasoned investors didn't see coming. And here's the kicker. Number 5 on our list will drop by amounts that will make your head spin. But number 1 is the most critical because it could reshape the entire Greater Toronto Area housing market forever. Let me walk you through the 10 Ontario neighborhoods where smart buyers are waiting and current homeowners are getting nervous. Number 10. Mississauga's Port Credit. The waterfront dream is turning into a financial nightmare for many homeowners in Port Credit. This once-coveted neighborhood, known for its charming marina and upscale condos, is facing a perfect storm that's about to slash property values significantly. Here's something that will surprise you. Port Credit has some of the highest property tax increases in the GTA, jumping nearly 15% this year alone. But that's just the beginning. The real issue lies in the oversupply of luxury condos that flooded the market over the past 3 years. Developers rushed to capitalize on the waterfront appeal, but now there are simply too many units chasing too few qualified buyers. The financial impact is real and immediate. Homeowners who bought at peak prices in 2022 are already seeing their properties lose value faster than their mortgage payments can keep up. For potential buyers, this means opportunity, but for current residents, it's a wake-up call that even premium locations aren't immune to market corrections. What makes this particularly concerning is the ripple effect. When waterfront properties start declining, it signals broader market weakness that tends to spread inland. But before you think Port Credit is the worst of it, wait until you hear about our next location. Number 9. Hamilton's Dundas. The mountain town charm of Dundas is losing its luster as economic realities set in. This neighborhood, which saw explosive growth during the pandemic as Toronto buyers sought affordable alternatives, is now experiencing the harsh reality of overvaluation. Here's a fact that local real estate agents don't want you to know. Dundas home prices increased by over 40% in just 2 years, far outpacing local income growth and employment opportunities. The result? A community where locals can no longer afford to live, and Toronto commuters are realizing the daily drive isn't worth the supposed savings. The transportation infrastructure simply can't support the population influx. Go. Transit services are overcrowded and unreliable, turning what should be a 45-minute commute into a daily ordeal that can stretch to 2 hours. Young families who moved here thinking they found the perfect balance between affordability and access to Toronto are now reconsidering their choices. The emotional toll is significant. Parents are spending less time with their children due to extended commutes, and the community feel that originally attracted buyers is eroding as more properties sit vacant or turn into rental units for students. For investors, this presents a clear warning. When a neighborhood's core appeal disappears, property values follow suit. But Dundas isn't alone in facing infrastructure challenges, as you'll discover with our next neighborhood. Number 8, Kitchener's Victoria Park area. The tech boom that was supposed to transform Kitchener into Canada's Silicon Valley North is showing serious cracks, and the Victoria Park area is feeling the tremors first. This neighborhood, heavily marketed to young professionals and tech workers, is discovering that promises of job growth don't always translate to sustained property values. What's happening here should concern anyone considering investment in tech-dependent markets. Several major tech companies that announced expansions in Kitchener have quietly scaled back their operations or delayed hiring plans. The result is a neighborhood designed for a workforce that isn't materializing at expected levels. The oversupply of trendy condos and modern townhouses targeted at tech workers is becoming apparent. Developers built assuming continuous growth, but the reality is that many units remain empty or are being rented below projected rates. For homeowners who bought based on future growth projections, this represents a significant miscalculation. The personal impact extends beyond finances. Young professionals who relocated from Toronto for tech opportunities are finding fewer career advancement options than promised. Some are moving back to Toronto, leaving behind properties they can't sell at break-even prices. It's a reminder that betting on single industry growth can be financially devastating when that growth stalls. The situation in Kitchener reflects broader concerns about secondary markets that became overheated during the pandemic, but our next location shows how even established neighborhoods aren't safe. Number 7. London's Byron. Byron has long been considered one of London's most desirable neighborhoods, known for tree-lined streets and solid property values. But changing demographics and economic pressures are creating conditions for significant price corrections that long-time residents never saw coming. The hidden truth about Byron is that it's aging faster than the city's ability to attract young families to replace departing empty nesters. The average age in the neighborhood has increased dramatically, and younger buyers are being priced out by property values that no longer align with local earning potential. Infrastructure neglect is becoming impossible to ignore. Roads need major repairs, the sewer system requires updates that will cost taxpayers millions, and many of the charming older homes need expensive renovations to meet modern standards. These costs are being factored into buyer calculations, reducing what people are willing to pay. The emotional attachment that current residents have to the neighborhood is creating resistance to necessary changes, but it's also creating a gap between asking prices and market reality. Sellers remember when Byron was the place everyone wanted to live, but today's buyers see aging infrastructure and limited growth potential. For families considering London as an alternative to Toronto housing costs, Byron's struggles serve as a warning that established neighborhoods can lose their appeal when they fail to adapt to changing buyer priorities. However, our next neighborhood faces even more complex challenges. Number 6. Oshawa's downtown core. Oshawa's attempts to revitalize its downtown core through residential development are meeting harsh economic realities that threaten to derail the entire urban renewal project. The city invested heavily in attracting condo developers, but the results are raising serious questions about the viability of downtown living in smaller cities. Here's what planners didn't anticipate. The jobs that were supposed to support downtown living never materialized in sufficient numbers. While Toronto professionals were expected to embrace Oshawa as an affordable alternative, most discovered that the career limitations outweighed the housing cost savings. The retail and restaurant scene that developers promised would create vibrant street life is struggling. Many ground-floor commercial spaces in new buildings remain empty, creating an atmosphere that feels more like a construction zone than a thriving community. For residents who bought into the vision of urban sophistication, the reality is disappointing. The financial implications are becoming clear as condo prices plateau or decline while property taxes increase to fund the infrastructure improvements the downtown revitalization requires. This situation reflects a broader challenge facing mid-sized Ontario cities trying to recreate Toronto's success without Toronto's economic diversity. But speaking of economic challenges, our next neighborhood shows how even proximity to Toronto provides no guarantee of stability. Number 5. Vaughan's Maple. Brace yourself for this one. Maple is projected to see price drops that could reach 20% or more, making it one of the most dramatic corrections in the GTA. This Vaughan neighborhood, which experienced explosive growth as families sought suburban alternatives to Toronto, is now facing a reality check that's sending shockwaves through the entire region. The problem started with infrastructure that couldn't keep pace with development. Schools are overcrowded to dangerous levels, with some operating at 150% capacity. Traffic congestion has reached the point where residents joke about needing to plan their lives around rush hour, except it's not funny when you're living it daily. But here's the real kicker. The very families that drove Maple's growth are now leaving. Young parents who moved for better schools are discovering their children's education is suffering due to overcrowding. The promised community centers and recreational facilities are years behind schedule, leaving families with suburban prices but urban problems. The emotional cost is devastating for families who stretched financially to afford Maple homes, thinking they were investing in their children's future. Instead, they're dealing with longer commutes, stressed kids, and a community that feels more like a construction zone than a neighborhood. What makes Maple's situation particularly alarming is its ripple effect throughout Vaughan. When a flagship development area struggles this severely, it raises questions about the entire municipality's planning competence. For potential buyers, Maple represents a cautionary tale about the difference between developer promises and livable reality. But if you think Maple's challenges are significant, wait until you hear about our next location's perfect storm of problems. Number 4. Brampton's Bramalea. Bramalea is experiencing a housing crisis that goes far beyond simple market corrections. This neighborhood, once seen as an affordable entry point for first-time buyers, is now caught in a downward spiral that's affecting property values, community stability, and residents' quality of life simultaneously. The affordability that initially attracted buyers has created its own problems. Many purchasers stretched beyond their financial comfort zones, and rising interest rates are forcing defaults and power of sale situations that are flooding the market with distressed properties. When multiple homes on a single street are selling below market value due to financial distress, it drags down everyone's property values. Crime rates have increased as economic stress takes its toll on the community. Property crimes, in particular, are making headlines and causing insurance premiums to spike. For homeowners, this creates a double hit: declining property values and increasing carrying costs that make ownership even less sustainable. The social fabric of Bramalea is fraying as longtime residents watch their neighborhood change in ways that make them uncomfortable. Community organizations are struggling with reduced funding just when their services are needed most. It's a textbook example of how housing affordability problems can cascade into broader community breakdown. For families considering Brampton as their entry point into homeownership, Bramalea's struggles offer sobering lessons about the true cost of seemingly affordable housing. But our next neighborhood proves that even areas with strong fundamentals aren't immune to market forces. Number 3, Windsor's Walkerville. Windsor's historic Walkerville neighborhood is facing an identity crisis that's translating directly into property value uncertainty. The complexity of Walkerville's situation stems from its unique relationship with Detroit's economic recovery. While Detroit's improvement should theoretically benefit Windsor, the reality is more complicated. Many of the jobs that Windsor residents hoped to access in Detroit require work permits that are increasingly difficult to obtain, limiting the economic benefits of proximity. Currency fluctuations add another layer of uncertainty. When the Canadian dollar weakens, Windsor becomes more attractive to American buyers, but it also makes goods and services more expensive for residents. This economic volatility makes it difficult for potential buyers to calculate long-term affordability. Heritage designation, while protecting the neighborhood's character, also limits renovation options and increases maintenance costs. Many of Walkerville's beautiful homes require expensive specialized repairs that younger buyers can't afford. The result is an aging population and declining demand from the demographics most likely to drive future growth. Border security changes have made crossing for work or leisure more time-consuming and unpredictable. For residents whose lifestyle depended on easy access to Detroit, these changes fundamentally alter the neighborhood's appeal. It's a reminder that communities dependent on unique geographic advantages can become vulnerable when those advantages diminish. But Walkerville's border-related challenges pale in comparison to the systematic issues facing our next neighborhood. Number 2. Sudbury's New Sudbury. New Sudbury represents everything that can go wrong when a community becomes too dependent on single industry economic drivers. This neighborhood, built around mining prosperity, is now facing the harsh reality that resource-based economies are inherently unstable in today's global market. The mining industry's shift toward automation means fewer high-paying jobs for local residents. Families who bought homes assuming their children would follow them into mining careers are watching those opportunities disappear. The result is a brain drain as young people leave for education and careers elsewhere, often never returning. Property maintenance in New Sudbury reveals another harsh reality. Harsh winters and industrial pollution take a severe toll on buildings. Homes require more frequent repairs and replacement of systems like roofing and HVAC. For buyers accustomed to Southern Ontario maintenance costs, the ongoing expenses can be shocking. The psychological impact of economic uncertainty is visible throughout New Sudbury. Community events are less well attended, local businesses are struggling, and there's a general sense that the neighborhood's best days are behind it. This creates a self-fulfilling prophecy where declining community spirit accelerates population loss and property value decline. For investors considering Northern Ontario properties, New Sudbury serves as a crucial case study in the risks of resource-dependent communities. The boom and bust cycle that seemed like ancient history is proving to be an ongoing reality that affects real families and real investments. However, even New Sudbury's challenges don't compare to the unprecedented situation unfolding in our #1 location. Number 1, Toronto's Liberty Village. This is the big one. Liberty Village, once the poster child for urban renewal and condo living, is facing a perfect storm that could reshape how we think about downtown Toronto real estate forever. The very factors that made Liberty Village attractive are now working against it in ways that nobody predicted. Here's the shocking truth. Liberty Village has become a victim of its own success. The neighborhood is so densely packed with condos that basic infrastructure is failing. Internet service is unreliable due to overloaded networks. Elevators break down regularly from overuse, and the TTC stops are dangerously overcrowded during peak hours. But the real crisis is just beginning. Many of Liberty Village's earliest condo buildings are now 15-20 years old and requiring major repairs. Special assessments for building envelope repairs, elevator replacements, and mechanical system updates are hitting residents with bills of $20,000 to $50,000 per unit. For young professionals already stretched by mortgage payments, these assessments are forcing sales at below-market prices. The work-from-home revolution has exposed Liberty Village's fundamental weakness. It was designed for people who needed to be downtown every day. With remote work becoming permanent for many, the premium prices for small units in a crowded neighborhood no longer make sense. Families are realizing they can get more space and better quality of life elsewhere for the same money. The emotional toll on residents is severe. Many bought into Liberty Village believing they were investing in Toronto's future, only to discover they're trapped in overpriced units with mounting repair bills and declining demand. The sense of community that developers promised never materialized due to the transient nature of condo living and the sheer number of units. What makes Liberty Village's situation particularly alarming is its symbolic importance. If Toronto's flagship redevelopment neighborhood can't maintain property values, it raises fundamental questions about the sustainability of high-density condo living in the city's core. For potential buyers, Liberty Village represents the ultimate cautionary tale about the difference between marketing promises and long-term livability. The neighborhood that was supposed to prove condos could create communities instead demonstrates why careful consideration of infrastructure, building quality, and lifestyle sustainability matters more than location and amenities. So there you have it. 10 Ontario neighborhoods where smart money is staying on the sidelines and current homeowners are facing difficult decisions. From Mississauga's oversupplied waterfront to Toronto's infrastructure-strained Liberty Village, these areas remind us that real estate markets can shift faster and more dramatically than anyone expects. What do you think about these neighborhoods? Have you seen similar warning signs in your area? Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and tell us which of these situations concerns you most. If you found this analysis helpful for your housing decisions, make sure to like this video and subscribe for more real estate insights that could save you thousands. Click that bell icon so you never miss our latest market updates and predictions.